Today, I'll develop the story of 서삼릉 royal tombs of the Joseon dynasty, a world cultural heritage. It's in Deokyangu, Goyangsi, Korea. 서삼릉 are three tombs in the west. In 1537, Hwirung, the tomb of Queen Jangyang, the second queen of King Jungjong, to the west of Hwirung was moved to 서삼릉. In 1545, in the present Yereung site, Jungjong's tomb was built to the west of Hwirung and it was called Jeongreung. In 1546, Hyorung of Injong's royal tomb was created, and in 1562, King Jungjong was moved to Seonjeongreung. Sokyongwon of the crown prince, Sohyun of the 16th king Injo, and Yereung of King Cheoljeong were created within the precinct. During the Japanese colonial period, placenta chambers of royal families and tombs of princes, princesses, and concubines from across the country were moved to the precinct of 서삼릉 to create group placenta chambers and tombs, and Crown Prince Munho's Hyochangwon was also moved. After liberation, the tombs of Ryuryongwon and the concubines of Crown Prince Uiso and the tomb of the deposed Queen Win was moved here. The parking lot is very narrow because the Nap's Cow Improvement Office is on the left side and the Wondang Stallion Farm on the right side. Hyorung and Sokyongwon was closed area because the Cow Improvement Office occupies the surrounding area. In addition, the right side of 서삼릉 is occupied by Wondang Stallion Farm of the Korea Horse Affairs Association. The Wondang Stallion Farm is being used as a jockey training and horse promotion space. The admission fee is 1,000 won and 500 won for residents of Goyangsi. Senior 65 and older are free. Placenta chambers area can be viewed by making a reservation 7 days in advance. You can apply the Cultural Heritage Administration's participation site. Hyorung and Sokyongwon are private areas and you can enter them by applying for permission in advance. Hwirung is the single burial mound of Queen Jangyang. Queen Jangyang, the second queen of King Jungjong, was the daughter of a servant who helped to drive out the king and set up a new king to rule the country. She entered the palace at the age of 15, defeated prominent queen candidates, and was chosen as the queen consort of King Jungjong thanks to her strong parental virtue. She gave birth to a son after 10 years and died a few days later. He is the king of Injong, a filial son sent from heaven. Could she have closed her eyes properly when she left her newborn child? Hyorung is the twin burial mound of King Injong and Queen Insun. There is a Nap's Cow Improvement Center, so you need to apply for a prior permit in a private area. In 1545, when the tomb of Injong was built, the burial mound of Queen Insung was created, and when Queen Insung passed away, it was built as a twin tomb. There was no retaining stones at the time of the construction of Hyorung, but when the tomb of Queen Insung was built, retaining stones were added only to the burial mound of Injong. Injong is the king with the shortest reign because he died 9 months after he took the throne as an unfortunate king who had no strong supporters because his mother died a few days after he was born. He had the qualities of the good and wise king, but his filial piety was so deep that he consumed too much physical strength for the care of King Jungjong and eventually died at the age of 31 due to illness. There is a saying that Queen Munjong poisoned Injong in an unofficial history, but it is written that he died of illness in the annals. It is bittersweet that his excessive filial piety caused his illness and handed over the throne his half-brother, the young Yeongjong, resulting in the misgovernment of Queen Munjong and negatively affecting the future of Joseon dynasty. While he is living in Seosamnung with his mother, Queen Jangyeong, his filial, sharing the unfulfilled feelings of a mother and son. Queen In-sung had no children, but considering that the three concubines also had no children, it seems that Queen In-sung was not to blame. She died at the age of 63 and is lying beside King In-jong. This is the family tree of the 12th King of In-jong. Here is the twin burial mound of Cheoljong and Queen Cheorin, and is the last royal tomb of the Joseon dynasty. Some of the stone figures, such as stone horse and the stone lantern, use the old Cheonglung stone figures of King Jungjong, which were buried in the ground. King Cheoljong is on the left when viewed from the T-shaped shrine. Yereung was built to the west of Hyereung in 1864, when King Cheoljong passed away in 1863, and it was created as a twin burial mound when Queen Cheorin passed away in 1878. At this time, King Cheoljong's T-shaped shrine was in a Gilre state, so temporary T-shaped shrine was built for the Hyungnae of Queen Cheorin. Temporary T-shaped shrine is demolished and merged 3 years later. The 3 years of mourning for the dead are called Hyungnae, and the rites are called Gilre after ancestral rite is enshrined in Jongmyo Shrine. There are still cornerstones of a temporary T-shaped shrine. This is Imundo of Yereung Sanneung Dogam Yuge. Here, Gilryugung is the last pavilion that was erected to temporarily enshrine the spirit during the transfer of the deceased to the tomb from the funeral of a royal family. When King Hunjong died without an heir, they hurriedly searched for a royal blood. The name child of the illegitimate child of Crown Prince Sado is Cheoljong, and Cheoljong is the son of Prince Jeonge Daewongun, the grandson of the Crown Prince Sado, a royal family in the outskirts. In 1849, King Cheoljong ascended the throne by order of Empress Sunan of King Sunjo. This is the family tree of the 25th King of Cheoljong. He was often called Gangwa Doryong, but he was born and raised in Hansong, and his father was exiled to Gangwado Island and was killed by poison, and his brother also was killed by poison, and he lived in Gangwa for 5 years. King Cheoljong had a very low level of education as a king, even if he was not ignorant. King Cheoljong knew the suffering of the common people since he was a child. After 3 years of regency of Queen Sunan, when he directly began to govern, he tried various reforms, but Andong Kim's secular politics was so extreme that he had no choice but to remain as a scarecrow king. It was only when Cheoljong was indifferent to politics that Andong Kim clan could maintain their power, so they intentionally let him drink and enjoy sex. As a result, healthy young man died at the age of 33 after suffering from a lingering illness at the end of his reign. King Cheoljong didn't become a king because he wanted to. If he lived in Gangwa with his first lovesick, Bong-yi, and had children, wouldn't he have been blessed? According to unofficial history, King Cheoljong wanted to bring Bong-yi to the palace. He said that royal court poisoned her when he was a love sickness, but it's only unofficial history. Yongwon-gung was the house where King Cheoljong lived before he ascended the throne. When King Cheoljong ascended to the throne, Jeong Ki-se, a governor of Gangwa, built a new building and named it Yongwon-gung. In the precincts, there are tombstones and inscriptions indicating that this is the old house where King Cheoljong lived. Cheoljong had 5 princes and 1 princess from 7 concubines, but they all died as babies, and only 1 princess, Yeong-hae, died at the age of 14, 3 months after she got married. This is a pure life without his own children left. Queen Cheorin Kim-clan was a daughter of Kim Mun-gun, who was the central figure of Andong Kim-clan's secret politics. She continued to ask Cheol-jong for her partition for her parents' home. Cheol-jong kept away from Queen Cheorin and fell in more and more into women. There must have cultural differences between Queen, who grew up as a lady of prestige family, and Cheol-jong, who lived freely as a country farmer. After Cheol-jong passed away, she passed away in Yangwadang of Changgyeonggung Palace in 1878 at the age of 42 and was buried next to Cheol-jong, whether she hated it or not. Sogyong-won was created first among the 31. The incense path and the king's path are buried, and only the site of T-shaped shrine remains. Sogyong-won was a burial mound of Crown Prince So-hyun, the first son of King In-jo, and he was held hostage in Seonyang of the King dynasty for 9 years and was not welcomed by his father In-jo and his ministers, who had an anti-Qing pro-Ming policy. He was a pro-Qing figure and died suddenly 2 months after returning home. In the annals of In-jo, it is suggested that he was poisoned by the fact that the death was bleeding from the 9 holes and the face of the cause had turned down. Uryong-won is the tomb of King Yeongjo's grandson, the first son of Crown Prince Sa-do. It was called Uryong-myo since it was built in Bukayondong, Seoul in 1752 and was upgraded to Uryong-won in 1870. It was moved to Seosamnung in 1949 and the writing on the stone is the handwriting of King Yeongjo. Hyochang-won is the tomb of Crown Prince Munhyo, the son of King Jeongjo's concubine Eubin-seong. He died at the age of 5. In 1786, it was built in Hyochang Park in Seoul and was called Hyochang-myo. It was moved to Seosamnung in 1944, and at the entrance there is a memorial stone written by King Jeongjo himself.